and I work for Kentucky State University's Cooperative Extension Program. And today, I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about gifts in a jar. And so, I know you're probably wondering, what is gifts in a jar? And why are we talking about this concept today? So the whole purpose of gifts in a jar is to reuse, repurpose, and reduce your carbon footprint. And so we're going to talk about some of the benefits of actually utilizing a jar to put something in order to reuse it, and the fact that you can help save our planet by not adding to the trash that is put in our landfills, by using gift wrap paper and other things. And we're going to go over 3 different recipes. And so the first recipe we're going to talk about is the milk chocolate cocoa mix. And in that, we're going to create, or I'm going to show you how to create a jar that's going to be fun. It's going to be something you can give to your family, friends, or somebody who likes sweet treats, but you want to keep a budget. The second one is going to be your peanut butter, not peanut butter, but it's going to be peanuts and almonds. And it's also going to include some sweet chocolate morsels. And the last one is the Italian mixed pasta. And so with that one, that's going to be geared towards more of your families and people who may have more than one person to feed. It's not just one single person living in a household. There's probably going to be a lot more people, at least 2 to 4 people in the household. And so I'm going to take you through the process of what you need in order to make these gifts. I'm going to talk about what do you need to do to the jars and what you can put in them. Now, I want you to keep in mind that this is just some recommendations and that you don't have to use what we have here and what we're showing you. You can be creative and add in your own items, and that's the whole idea behind gifts in a jar, is the fact that you can reuse this over and over and over again. So once you use this jar one time, you can wash it out and you can actually use it for other things. You might have some buttons that you want to find some storage for. You might have some pennies or something that you might want to find a little change holder. So there's a lot of things you can use the jar to reuse it. So we're going to take you through some of the materials and tools that you're going to use to create your gifts in a jar. So for the first part of this, you're going to need basically an empty jar that's practically new. As you can see here, this one here actually only costs $1, and it's it's 1 pint at 16 ounces. And so you see that there. And for our first recipe, we talked about using the milk chocolate sweet morsels, marshmallows, and the cocoa. So as you can see here, you have your little chocolate morsels here, and then you have your marshmallows and your sweet chocolate. And the benefit of this, it has a lot of calcium in it. And so if you're not a milk person, I would highly recommend that the cocoa, you just get a regular cocoa on that and not the milk chocolate. And the other thing is the size of the marshmallows. These are fairly regular size. So if you wanted to get something a little bit bigger, that's okay. So what you would like to do with your milk chocolate, sweet chocolate morsels jar is the first thing we want to do is you want to add in your milk chocolate here. And so for mine, I decided to do 12 tablespoons of our cocoa that you see here. And the reason why I did that is because I didn't want the person I plan on giving this to just have one thing of cocoa. So last year I actually did this same process with a group of individuals, and I did about 20 jars. And so I got such rave reviews about it, and people loved it. And they told me that they used all the cocoa, and they loved the combination of the marshmallows and the chocolate morsels. So I decided to do it again. And so I layered in the chocolate morsels next, and it's 6 teaspoons of that. And then I did, not teaspoons, but tablespoons actually, on the chocolate morsels. And then on the marshmallows, I did about 5.5 tablespoons of marshmallows. And so one thing to note on the marshmallows, I use a regular, almost miniature size marshmallow. If you use a jumbo marshmallow, then you may have to decrease the amount of marshmallows that you use in the jar. The other thing to mention is, if you'll notice, this jar is a medium-sized jar. So if you were to use, say for instance, a bigger size jar that's similar to this size jar, that you definitely want to increase the amount of cocoa that you use, the amount of chocolate morsels, and the amount of marshmallows. So keep that in mind. One thing I forgot to mention is that when you are preparing this, going through your planning process of purchasing your jars, some things you want to look at is, first is of course your budget and how much you plan on spending. And you want to start purchasing things ahead of time. You don't want to just go to one shop, one place, and try to purchase everything in one time. And the reason why I say that is because it's probably going to cost you a little bit more money if you don't use your coupons and try to purchase things on sale. So for the second one, we're going to talk about the peanuts, almonds, and sunflower seeds in our sweet chocolate morsels. And so for this one, you have your salted almonds, which is about only 3 tablespoons here. This one right here has your peanuts in it, and so this one also is salted, and you have the option of buying unsalted peanuts, but for this demonstration we actually use the salted. And so here we also have the sunflower seeds. And the one thing I will note about the nuts that we have chosen are that they are very high in protein and very nutritious. So the next recipe we're going to talk about here at Gifts in a Jar is going to be the peanuts, almonds, and chocolate morsels. And so this recipe is a lot healthier than the first one we talked about, which was the milk chocolate, cocoa, and marshmallows. And so the reason why I like this one is because it's protein packed and it has a lot of potassium in it. So if you're a vegan, or if you don't have a lot of energy throughout the day, you're busy, you're always on the run, this is one I would highly recommend. So the 3 main ingredients for this one is your peanuts. You got your peanuts, sunflower seeds, almonds, and there's a little bit of chocolate morsels within it. And that's just so you have that sweet, salty taste that a lot of people like when they are eating, similar to what you would taste in a Chex Mix. And so the other thing to think about for this one is that it's protein packed. So with your peanuts, when you eat those, they have a higher content of protein versus, say, your milk chocolate cocoa. So milk chocolate cocoa, one thing I can say about it is it does have calcium in it at about, I'd say at least about 150 milligrams. For this one, it's going to have a lot more of your protein, between 3 to 5% depending on how many peanuts you eat. And then it's literally about 6 tablespoons of peanuts in this little jar. There's about 3 to 4 tablespoons of chocolate morsels, and there's about 3 tablespoons of your sunflower seeds and 3 of your almonds. So, okay, so the next one we got is the Italian pasta mix. And this right here, I highly recommend giving this to more like a family member who has kids, or it might just be a husband and a wife. And this is a very, very delicious little pasta treat. I have tried this one multiple times, and it has the spiral noodles as a feature on the pasta. Beautiful colors with the green, oranges, and the little beige tan color. And then it has the Italian seasoning. Oh my gosh, guys, this is like tasty, tasty, tasty. So the size in terms of how much is in this little jar here, and this is actually one of the larger jars. It has 2.5 cups of pasta within this little jar. And it has about 4 to 6 servings in it. And the one thing I highly recommend is that you add a vegetable or something with it as a side, so that you don't depend so heavily on just this one thing. Because if you do, and you just do the pasta with a little seasoning mix, then more than likely you're gonna consume this pretty quick, which is fine as long as it gets consumed. But however, if you want it to last more than a day, then you're gonna wanna say, hey, you know, let me put this in a pot and let it, let the water boil, put it in there, and then you cook it, and then it's gonna be really tasty. So you're gonna give yourself something else to kind of have with it, so it doesn't go all at one time. So that's one little note I would say about that. And another awesome feature about this one is if you want to repurpose this one, like you can repurpose all the jars here on this table. When I say repurpose, I mean you reuse it. And basically what could happen with this is you could put little crayons, you can put pencils, you can put markers. There's a lot of things you can do with it. Some people, you can put like a food item in it and put, say, brown sugar, because sometimes you get these those little plastic bags, and it's a flat bag, right? And then you open it, and what happens? Stuff goes out. So you have to have something to put your brown sugar in. So this could be the perfect match to that. And the one thing I'll mention with this particular one, I did put the seasoning in a little plastic bag that's very, very small. The reason why I did that is so that if you were going to repurpose this, or the person I gifted to repurposes it, they don't have to do so much on the cleaning. And they could, like, once the pasta comes out, because the pasta is dry, it has no seasoning on it, and so they'll repurpose it, pour it into a boiler or into whatever they're going to container to cook it in. And this is fairly clean, but they'll have to rinse it out, but it won't have that, you know, that taste that you get, like, say for instance in a pickle bottle or a jar of pickles. After it's been there for a long time, it'll have that little taste or that little smell to it. So that's the reason why you do have the option to put the things that you're going to put in a jar into single bags. However, I will caution you that it does not look as attractive, especially if you're going to do it for everything in the jar. So it's more tedious as well, and does take more time, and it may look a little weird. It's not going to give you the same effect in terms of your visual effect of this looking very just like, looks a lot more visually appealing. So you want to keep that in mind too. So just to go over everything that we've talked about a couple of recipes, and we've talked about three different recipes today. So you had your milk chocolate cocoa, you had your peanuts, almonds, sweet chocolate morsels, and sunflower seeds, and then you had your Italian mixed pasta. And those are the three main ones we talked about today. And the things that I wanted to reiterate is that the whole purpose of the gifts in a jar is to repurpose, reduce, and reuse, meaning that you're reducing your carbon footprint by using these jars and not necessarily using something that, like, say for instance, a box that a gift could go into, and that's just going to probably end up in a trash can after that person opens it. So these can be reused for other purposes, which is up to that individual who receives the gift. But most of the time, most people like jars, and they reuse them to use it for storage, for cotton balls, or like your little ear swabs or things of that nature, for some of your makeup needs or cosmetic needs, or they might just use it for a food item. So it's a lot of different things you can do with it. It's just you got to be creative and come up with your own thing that you like. So we just recommend some things for you, and you get to pick. So that's the fun thing about the jars. You know, we have all our recommendations here, but of course you can find out which one is going to fit your gift needs for the most part. So that's pretty much all I have for you on today. And so we would like for you to always give us comments on the videos that we share and the content. So if you would like to, you can go to our website, the Kentucky State University website. You can check us out there through the Cooperative Extension tab. And also, you can just check us out on Facebook on the Kentucky State University Land Grant Facebook page. And we're on Twitter and on Instagram. So if you ever want to find out more information on what you've seen here for Gifts in a Jar or any other topics, we have several other things related to family and consumer sciences, from financial literacy, nutrition education, parenting, and several other topics. And so I highly encourage you to go out and check out some of the things we have. And if you would like to send me any comments or pictures on any of the things that you've seen here today, or if you use a recipe and use one of these Gifts in a Jar ideas and somebody just, I loved it, you can send me an email, and that's going to be my first and last name, chandra.doremus@kysu.edu, and it's spelled out here on the name tag, CHANDRA.DERAMUS@kysu.edu. And that's all the time we have for today, and I have enjoyed doing this presentation for you all, and you all have a great day.